Hi YouTube, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing okay, not too bad. I was thinking about how when, not just narcissists, but even our government, they try to use like reverse psychology on us, like tell us to do one thing, knowing that we have a rebellious nature that will go and do the other thing. But there was a book that I read when I was young. I think it was called The Art of Reverse Psychology or something along that order. And it was a bit startling, but I never forgot it. And then when I recognize that people are doing that to other people, it's like, wow. Yeah. So anyway, you can always reverse the reverse, but they might expect that too. I've been through that, if that makes any sense. Go along with what they want, and then they're pissed because they expected you to do something different. So anyway, yeah, I'm a little ratty today. I had a pet last night right above my head, kind of an unwelcomed one. I had come out of the bathroom and a bat came flying out of my laundry room into the living room and maybe another bedroom down on the other side of the house, and flies right back at me. It's like coming right at me, and then does that a couple times. So I flipped out and ran in my room and closed my door, and didn't open it for a long time. I was even getting thirsty, but it's like, no way. Yeah, I have a little bit of fear of things that carry rabies and fleas and stuff that's flying through the air in my house. Yeah, it freaked me out. One other time, about 30 years ago, we had bats in here, and Doug had taken, there was 2 of them. Yesterday, he said, I have bats in my belfry. We have bats in our belfry. And I said that it needs to leave. I need my space, So anyway, the 2 cats, the one that's I brought in, that's feral with a broken leg, and Doug's cat was from a stray we had helped also. But anyway, so Doug's cat was scared of it. He's not used to anything like that. Nellie is from being wild outside, and she actually did hunt it all night. I had to sleep with my TV on eventually, and I do not know how. But they, like a mouse, can get into a hole the size of their head. Their wings just make them look like pretty big, but it was a small one to begin with, and it got in my room. And it was flying back and forth, and I was petrified, and it was scared, and it landed above my head where I was sleeping. So I tapped on the wall and told him, go out where you came. And I turned on a spotlight I had, and then I eventually just turned the TV on, and I got it to fly over by the window above the curtain, because in the light they don't hunt. See what happened? Doug was working on the porch at night, plugging up all the holes and caulking it and whatever to keep the mosquitoes out. So little bat buddy there I called Meatloaf, like a bat out of hell. So Meatloaf got in there. He was helping Doug eat some of the mosquitoes, because even if you're out at night at a bonfire, you'll see them whipping around. I mean, they don't really do anything to you, they just fly around and eat insects, at night. So I kept my TV on all night long because I just was not in the mood to have Meatloaf flying around the house all night long. and it would have if it hadn't had no light. So this morning I went out in the motorhome and got my landing net for fishing. I have two, one smaller with smaller holes, and I was going to put a glove on and try and capture them like that. So I asked Doug, do you want to put on a glove and get Meatloaf out of here? And he said no. And I said, well, I don't want to either. But I just went out. I didn't say nothing. But when I came back in, Doug had gotten a crate, a box thing that he uses for working to get up higher, like a step, and got up there and got the thing, and it was screaming, and we took it out underneath a great big pine tree, and Doug set it on the ground, and I went back to check on it, and I said, well, stay safe, have a nice life, Meatloaf. I seen it had finally flown off because I was afraid the cats outside might get it. We tried to put it away from them where they went, because his heart was racing. He was panting. He was petrified. And it's like telepathy. I mean, there's the whole woods. It could have went anywhere. And it blended in with the tree. All of a sudden I looked right where it was at, face level. He was hanging upside down on a vine on a tree, right in front of me, sleeping, doing his daytime sleepy thing. So he was off the ground pretty far. Still a cat could get him, but it was better than being just on the ground, you know. So he'll be okay, I'm sure. If he hears a cat coming, he'll fly, you know, hopefully. If he's not too tired, because I sure the hell am, you know. I really, it's not that, well, yeah, you know, even the bat guanum, their feces is poisonous to people. The ammonia in it and stuff, and it carries some really bad parasites that people have gotten deathly sick from. I can't remember what disease besides rabies they carry, and fleas and whatever, but yeah, it was as scared as I was, and so, yeah. Glad that's over. Like I said, it happened some decades ago, and I didn't react much better. I dove under the table that time. But like last night, I got a scarf that I use for swatting stuff away, and like cats or whatever, keeping them off stuff. And I swatted that a couple times at it to just keep it away from me. But I mean, I could have got out my baseball bat and took it out. But tonight, I would figured if it's flying around tonight, I'm going to use it like a giant butterfly net, and I'm just going to snag that thing. I used to do that when I was a kid, and then I got so sickened by catching something so beautiful, and sometimes they get damaged no matter how gentle you'd try and be, whether you were getting it for research, or some people will get them and they'd buy them if it was a whole specimen, like the University of Minnesota, you know, in their mm, biology lab, I do believe, did that. So, well, I had to be associated with that, but I don't remember exactly which branch of that university, but it was affiliated with the animal life. But there's, what is it for bugs? Anthropology? No, maybe. I had a friend, her father did that for a living. They moved over to Hawaii because of the research that was going on over there with all that. So anyway, cheers everybody. I can't help but think I ran into a young man that on online, Truth Tiger, that was raised by narcissists. And what makes like one child in the same family, but I wasn't raised in the family, my family, but found out my birth mother was so much like my adopted mother, it blew my mind. It still does. But what makes one child grow up to be a full-blown narcissist and another one that went through the same things not, you know. And I know it's like the analogy or that little saying thing that they have, like the two sons saw their father drink, and one was a sober-minded person and the other one drank a lot, and they both said, because I watched my father, you know. So it's just the two different types of personalities within people, you know. And I have seen it with my own eyes that the one that does not become the narcissist has always had a more tender heart to begin with. They don't just presto changeo right into somebody that they never were. We are born to be who we are for the lessons that God wants to teach us, no matter what. So what makes one person better and another person better? Not better than anybody else, but better through the situation of what happened. You know, the only plausible answer would be whether maybe you're a male or a female, how much older of a sibling or younger, and how many of them did you have around. There could be all kinds of variations on why one of our siblings will be like that, and we didn't end up like that in the same situation, and maybe even went through worse than what our sibling went through. So they would use it for an excuse, like they went through this or that, and that's how they became that way. I don't buy that. It doesn't register like that in my mind, because I've seen it in my adoptive family and my birth family. So, oh, just a minute. What do you mean? How so? Last time I drove it, it gets right a little warm. Yeah. Put a gallon of water in the holding bucket there. Got down to Jimmy Johnson. The fucking temperature lights on. Uh-oh. I turned the heater on, got home, blew the water out of the holding tank, touched the radiator cap, radiator totally fucking cold. That's got airlock. Or it's got a hole in a hose. Weird. Yeah, very. Evil. Huh. Yeah, our truck overheated on them. Could be various things. We both are mechanically inclined, so he'll find out what it is. So. Oh, just 1 minute. The pump will be off in a minute. It won't be long. You got airlock. Okay, just a minute. I heard you. I am making a video, but no big deal. So I was just thinking about the importance of not letting somebody's what is called cold affect or cold affect, their cold hearts, their waxing cold hearts that are the times we are in, um, where people, even within communities, aren't welcoming souls. It used to really flip me out. It just hurt my feelings something fierce, but I learned to get over it. But I was exuberant with life, smiley and bouncy. I'm still kind of smiley and bouncy on certain days, I guess, due to actual physical and emotional uh, pains that are hard for us to overcome. But you go out and you smile at somebody in your community and they're unwelcoming. You know, when you get somebody or somebody smiling at you first, that's freaking cool. I just love that. That's beautiful. Pass it on, you know. Um, but you go out there and you try and interact from your heart, and very few people care. It's really sickening to me. It's painful, you know. I don't get it. Um, I don't think evil really understands good as far as it can pretend to. Just like you or I will never know the depths of true evil. You know, whether or not a narcissist is full-blown evil. I have a tendency to think they are. I don't give them the benefit of the doubt that they have a childlike mind and they can't behave themselves. Because these people learned how to tie their shoes and put their pants on. Like Andrew says, they put their clothes on just like we do. They function out in the world just like we do. Unless they can get away with being terrible to other people, you know. And that is what they search for. Okay, just a minute. What's that?
Change the plan.
Yeah?
Little stub that goes into where they had a jury rigged where it went to intake.
Yeah.
Fucker blew off.
Yeah.
Fucker blew off. That's why there's no radiators cold.
I figured it
Put
was
something
like
in the fucking
hole
blowing
in.
out of the goddamn. Lucky I didn't. I was only that close to home.
Yeah.
That fucker was pegged way over to
Wanna
his.
say hi, YouTube?
Could you write out a list? I gotta get a hold of
I'm
this guy
getting
over
there.
there. I gotta go to Walmart now.
Okay.
I'm gonna let it cool off and then go see that door.
Okay.
Hi YouTube. Goodbye.
Hi, YouTube. Goodbye. He says. So he figured it out. Yeah. He was going to get an exterior door for our porch. We've got the great big one that leads into the woodshed that swings open. And then he's going to make a side one going out the other way of it with a screen in the window on it that so we can get like furniture in or whatever. And that's a 36-inch door by like 6.5 feet or something. So it's pretty nice with the screen and the window and everything. So that's what he was going to get when his truck goofed up on him. So yeah, anyway. So I am making a little bit of a grocery list, but I don't really need too much. But I do have to remember to write down a couple things. If you're curious, just a minute. Milk, cottage cheese, lettuce, blue cheese dressing. So, like last night, I made a roast beef and mashed potatoes and homemade French dressing and salad. So we do have leftovers for that, but we need more lettuce. We've been eating, in the summer, we'll eat more stuff like that. I gotta write down onion and celery. I want to make like chicken salads and pasta salads and more salads, you know. So that's what I liked about being a lunch lady, was like the kids in our school. It was senior high school. I started out at the elementary school as lunch lady, I worked for the same school system, many different jobs, janitorial, paraprofessional, working with emotionally handicapped kids. But and that was okay. But I really loved working at the high school, feeding those kids. And um, they had a beautiful salad bar. I got to do that for a couple weeks. The lady that did the salad bar had to go on vacation, so I did that for her for a while. I liked it. You know, I've always been kind of a salad making person. I've been watching this woman named Tally Faye in the kitchen with Tally Faye. She's a Texan, and she's like a farm type mom. You know, they got the chickens, and her husband's got the garden, and she just got through like yesterday making a coconut cream pie and glazed carrots and like so many other things, like 4 different little videos she put out. And I just enjoy like what's Tally Faye cooking today, you know. And she's like approximately my age, so it's and I love her. She's a very nice lady. So anyway, and she's tough stuff too. I like her. So anyway, I like that attitude, take no prisoner attitude out of older women. Like you would meet that one grandma and she'd just scare the living bejesus out of you, you know? So I always aspired to be like that. And I'm doing good. I think so anyway. But yeah. And then too, because of narcissists within our families and our marriages and even sometimes our children and people out in the community, the trust issue and trust factor and things like that with people, um, that's a barrier between um, being able to love people the way we should. That's why I do reach out to younger people a lot of times. It's like, hey, kid, you're not alone. I was there when I was your age. I'm still there in many ways, but working through it. And even like different things I've done in my life, like, well, I started out, well, with a paper route and babysitting, and then working in a bakery store, cleaning it, um, and a lot of other things, but majorly going to nursing school and working in hospitals and retirement homes till I really couldn't bear it anymore. I had a lot of bad things I saw and just happening in my life, and I just emotionally could not deal with the elderly at that time in my life. I loved them, but I just could not do it. It's like, no way. I came into work one day. There was this one elderly couple, like, in their own room, private room, and they had left this little old 90-pound, you could, I mean, if she even weighed 90 pounds, you could knock her over with your breath. She was so tiny. They left this tiny lady on the toilet for I don't know how long. In between shift changes, I came in there and she was crying. I mean, I know me and different things, but I know me leaving my job wasn't going to save anybody. But just the amount of the things that I would see in my life, like people hitting the elderly and different. Yeah, they try to hit us too, but you know, with dementia or excuses or whatever. But I mean, it was, and then it was really the onset of unnatural diseases that I started to detect in people. That, I mean, when you have to wear gloves to work with somebody because they're oozing stuff out of their orifices, That's a problem with me. And I had little kids at home that I had to worry about, and I'd come home at night. I usually, well, I walked home usually, and I'd be walking home, and it was down a boulevard. It was all lit, and I knew most of the people all the way home anyway. And it was in a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona at that time. But I'd walk home and I'd think to myself, and I usually would light up a doobie and smoke some, and even had people run out, ask me if that's what I was smoking. I go, yeah, I'm done. And I handed it to them, and, you know, and it was illegal at the time too in the States, so especially down south, but whatever. I would have just ate it if a cop came. That's seriously. I put one in my pocket once with my hand like that in my pocket, talking to an officer that was talking to my ex, and we were walking, and I think he knew, but I would have turned around and shoved it in my mouth before he got out of his car. So I was just saving it, and yeah, it was still lit by the time he left too. So, anyway, so yeah, I did start out in caring for human beings all my life. I worked for Head Start. It's for in my church for handicapped children. Had a Sunday school class that I helped out with, and so yeah, and I worked at a nursery school. Was one of my first jobs. I have an analogy I tell Doug. Here's the scenario. Not just in a classroom with like third or fourth graders as a student teacher, but try and take 30 little people to the park by yourself and see how well you do with that, or even 18. The least I took sometimes was about a dozen. And then they had a pool at that place too where I'd help keep the little ones safe. And then I could swim in the pool for free when nobody was around. It was only a block and a half from my house, which was nice. So, and she also was my choir teacher in our church, so that's how I met her. But yeah, so I'm really not new to any of this, and I could go on and on. Like, even one of my jobs was working at a trained medical assistant and counselor at a oh, what do you call it? Oh, geez, a drug rehabilitation center. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, 2 or 3 hours of sleep with the noise all night. Yeah, I'm a little goofy, but yeah, I'm still here. you know. Yeah. Some of my things that I did in my life was either to help people that I loved. That's what started me researching cancer and how I went deeper into getting the different types of organisms that make the Morgellons bug and pinpointing their gestation periods that I can recite to people if you're into microbiology. And if you really, really want to know my findings many years ago, and I started telling people to just take bicarbonate soda, baking soda, especially if you have something sugary, like before you go to bed at night, and make sure, like, even if you don't brush your teeth, rinse your mouth out with bicarbonate. Swallow some, get about a tablespoon in you, teaspoon at the minimal, and that will keep the methane, that a parasite in your body, and we all have them. Your body is made out of bugs, technically, on our biggest organ, and life itself matter is, as a matter of fact, just like that. But anyway, you can go to morgellons.org. I wrote twice over there with my findings for people and how to help them. So none of this is new to me. But I did start out first studying cancer, and that led me to other things. So, the Morgellons bug dies in just plain water. Isn't that crazy? The only way to eradicate it from the human body would be a total blood transfusion. But put water in there first and then run blood through. Keep somebody sustained and animated for however long that would take without doing brain damage. That's my findings. But the Morgellons bug has a shell around it, and it's like a nanotechnology type. And yeah, it is. And it's got graphite and different things within it. But to break the shell of those bugs and parasites that are in people, that's the key to it. And if you're going to do like a detox and fasting, I fast all day usually, but I try to do bigger fasts, and I eat once a day. But I'm also not out there like feeding cattle or doing drywall. I owned my own drywall business. I'm a licensed contractor and a licensed minister in my state with a DUNS number and for taxes and whatever. So yeah, I've done some things in my life, sometimes two things at once, just to make my life go around. Like working, going to school, or working and working, or so, and some more work. Well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I just wanted to speak a little bit on not taking on the coldness of others, and to recognize when we're acting like that. And I know it's painful to open yourself and knock down your walls when it's so, the whole it's like adverse. It's just opposite day, in sponge world. So, all right. Thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.